Hi there, welcome back to my views and news. Firstly, viewers, an announcement after around 90 minutes. I'll be back with tonight's live chat at around 1800 GMT. I'll host a live chat. This is going to be first live chat of the week. We'll have three live chats as usual in this week: Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Looking forward to see you with your questions and comments. Two news stories where it seems that Ethiopian Prime Minister, Ethiopian government are in trouble because what they are facing, if they accept it, will amount to an embarrassment, I would believe. I'm talking about Ethiopia-Somalia talks. I said that we'll try to find out what is happening at the talks, which new proposals are being offered by Somalia. What does Ethiopia want? Now we have received information. It seems that Ethiopian government is going to be in trouble. Acceptance of the offer being made by Somalia is very difficult for Ethiopia. So, what will Ethiopia do now? Secondly, another high level African Union official visited Eritrea today. A few days ago, AU, former AU chief Musa Faki visited Eritrea. He met with Isaias Afwerki. And today, another high level AU official was in Asmara. Eritrea is known for not giving any importance to the African Union. It does not contribute, reportedly, its uh, financial, uh, uh, it does not pay its financial contribution to the AU. So, what happened? Why are AU officials visiting Eritrea? Let's start with firstly Ethiopia Somalia technical talks. What is happening? Which proposals are being shared by the two sides? The two sides held a meeting a few days ago under the auspices of Turkey. Technical level talks were held, and Turkey issued a statement saying that the next meeting will be held in March. By the end of June, reportedly, June 2025, an agreement is expected between the two sides. If you remember last year, Somalia made an offer to Ethiopia. Back then, Musi Abdi was in power in Somaliland. Election had not been held. Ethiopia and Somaliland were vowing to implement the MOU. Ethiopia was in a strong position back then, if you remember. And talks were being mediated by Turkey in Ankara. I'm talking about last year. Ankara was mediating, and last year, Somalia offered Hobyo port to Ethiopia. I did a video on that. I wrote an article on newsedits.com. You can read the article there. Several viewers said, Sajid, you are just making up stories. Somalia didn't make an offer of Hobyo port to Ethiopia, but offer was made back then. Ethiopia rejected the offer last year. Why? Because it was in a strong position. It was hoping to implement MOU with Somaliland, or it was trying to put pressure upon Somalia. So the Somalia agrees to the use of some other key port in Somalia for Ethiopia. Somalia only offered Hobyo port back then. Then things changed. Regional situation changed. Musi Abdi lost election. Abdirahman came to power. Now MOU with Somaliland almost frozen. Ethiopia not in a position to implement the MOU. Somaliland not interested, I think. Somaliland knows the risk of implementing the MOU is very high. Somalia and Ethiopia are now normalizing ties. They are restoring diplomatic ties. They are now holding talks, resumption of talks. I said, if you remember, that These talks are basically a face saving for Ethiopia. Abiy suffered a setback, diplomatic setback, because his uh, announcement to his plan to implement Ethiopia-Somalia could not uh, materialize. Now he wants face saving. He wants the access to Somalia. Question was, how far was Somalia going to go in supporting Ethiopia gaining access to sea? Which ports would Somalia offer to Ethiopia? We know that Egypt and Eritrea have been openly saying they don't want Ethiopia gain military access to sea, especially near the Red Sea, near the Gulf of Aden. Strategic uh, place on this marine route is Gulf of Aden. Now, what we have learned is that Somalia once again offered Hobyo port to Ethiopia in the talks held in Ankara this month. The same port which was offered by Somalia last year to, but last year Ethiopia rejected the offer. Again, Somalia says that it does not want Ethiopia to gain access to a port which is near Gulf of Aden. Hobyo port is on Arabian Sea. It is in Gulmudug regional state of Somalia. Mudug region, around 300 kilometers away from Ethiopian border, is situated the Hobyo port. The area, the route from Ethiopia to Hobyo port is not safe. It's not a fully developed port. It needs investment. It needs development. Turkey and some other Middle Eastern countries were interested in the past in developing Hobyo port. They announced to work on it, but they could not complete the construction of the port. UAE has built a port in Somaliland, Berbera. Other countries were interested in building a port, in developing Hobyo port. So it's in need of development. So now Ethiopian government is left with one choice, either to accept Hobyo or to just continue the confrontation with Somalia, which perhaps cannot be continued. Why? Because now Somaliland is not on Ethiopian side. Ethiopian government now has very limited options. It will have to agree to the use of Hobyo port. It would only like terms and conditions which would support Ethiopian military gaining access to Hobyo port. It would like the corridor from Ethiopia to Hobyo port to be controlled by Ethiopian security forces. I personally think that Turkey would play a part. It would agree to invest on the building of this port. This is my analysis. Turkey would say that, okay, we are ready to build this port. Ethiopia can use it. Somalia ready to offer this port to Ethiopia. Far away from Gulf of Aden, maybe Egypt and Eritrea won't object to it. Question now is, will Ethiopian military be allowed to gain access to the port or not? Who will control the port? Who will control the corridor leading to the port from Ethiopian territory? Who will control the coast? These are the questions. Overall, not a good news for Ethiopian PM Abiy. A man who has been chanting the slogan of access to sea is faced with a very difficult choice. Will he accept it or not? If it does not accept it, which alternative does he have? Let's see. Secondly, viewers, another high-level African Union official arrived in Eritrea today. A few weeks ago, former AU chief visited Eritrea. Musa Faki met with Isaias Afwerki. And today, Benkole Aboye visited Eritrea. Benkole Aboye is AU Commissioner for Political Affairs, Head of Peace and Security. He met with Isaias Afwerki. After that, Eritrean Ministry of Information issued a statement. Why are AU officials visiting Eritrea now very frequently? Because Eritrea has not been on good terms with with African Union. I did not see Saas Worki attend an AU session in the last few years. Eritrea sent generally lower level officials to attend AU heads of state summits. Eritrea accuses AU of being a truthless organization which is implementing other global powers agendas in Africa. Mr. of Information of Eritrea today criticized AU, saying that AU could not end conflicts in Africa. It has been affected by foreign agendas. That is why it should ensure its independence, its neutrality. The two sides, Benkole Boy and Issa Sewaki, discussed two conflicts in particular. Firstly, Somalia and then Sudan. What did they agree on? You know, when Musa Faki visited Eritrea, he asked his Eritrean president to ensure that Eritrea pays its financial contribution to AU. All member states pay the financial contribution. Eritrea has not been paying its financial contribution. Musa Faki requested Isas Sewaki to do that. I don't know if Isas Sewaki government is paying the contribution or not. Overall, AU wants to improve ties with the Eritrean government. Eritrean government says that this organization is in need of structural changes, changes which would make this organization influential, independent in Africa. We don't know which changes Eritrea wants, but AU only supports the men in power, whether they are generals or democratically elected leaders. AU has not been able to solve any conflict in Africa. Wars ended on their own or due to the intervention of foreign players, mediation of foreign players. AU could not play any active role in solving issues in Africa. I agree with the Eritrean president on this issue that AU has been worthless, useless. So paying financial contribution to AU does not mean anything because it has not been able to deliver anything. Thank you for watching.